Hey, how y'all doing tonight? This is Harold. I'm down here in the carport tonight, and as you might be able to see here with the dim light that I have, I'm potting up some of my bigger peppers tonight. A little cold tonight outside, but yeah, my babies are getting a little root bound, so I figured for anybody new out there, this is the way I do mine. How I transplant my peppers. Just so happens the one that I'm doing right now is a chocolate boot jalokia. Nice little specimen. I've been growing for quite some time. Hopefully you can get a good view of that. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's starting to get root bound in this solo cup. It's wrapped in foil. For any of you who know, you'll see here in a minute why that's wrapped in foil. But we're going to go ahead. I'm not going to really insult your intelligence too much. But you know, as far as digging a hole, we all know how to dig a hole. But the one thing that you want to know key about this, make sure you dig the hole deep enough to completely cover your pepper for the soil that you already have. So make sure you have enough, and you can see down there I got my hole dug, and you can take an old cup, put it down in there, and it'll give you a general idea. You know, you can see that's down in there now. That the soil is going to be a little bit under that top line, but you can see it's pretty good. So knowing I got the hole dug deep enough, the next thing I'm going to do, what I use is Epsom salt. Kind of gives it a little bit of a boost when you transplant these peppers. Now it's what I do. I also mix in a little bone meal. It's already in the soil when I do my pre-mix, but you can see whether you can see or not, I put about a good tablespoon in there, and then I'm going to go ahead, water that in just a little bit, and it's also sprinkled out around the sides. So one key that I always do, as you can see here, it's marked before I even pull this pepper out of the pot. For some of you that might mislabeled some or whatever, you know who you are. Make those labels before you even start, or use the old labels that you're gonna use at the time. So I've already marked this label, and I'm ready to go. I'm doing this with one hand because I'm holding the camera with the other. Somebody asked me before why I had foil wrapped around the cup. Well, as you can see, it's a clear cup. And you might be able to see right through there. You can see the roots right through the cup. Well, if that wasn't covered, those roots, now a plant loves sun, the roots don't. So it's very key to know that when you're doing this, that you do that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and turn this booger upside down. Push a little bit on the bottom and just kind of knead around the edges till I feel it ready to slide. And then bing, it'll come right out. Now, you know, it's not completely root bound, but you can see how deep those roots are going. Going down there pretty deep. And I don't like to take a chance on my plants getting root bound, so I like to transplant them before they get to that point. So I'm going to go ahead now. I got a little water in the hole. Got my Epsom salts. I just drop it right down in there like that. And then all I got to do now is just come around it. I'm going to push the soil down in, and I do compact it just a little bit. Not tight, but I'm going to push the soil down in there around the soil that I already had on the plant. Trying not to disturb the existing soil on the plant, because that's what it's come accustomed to. That's what it's used to. And I don't want to disturb that because that's what it's been growing in. So when you're doing this, try as much as possible not to disturb the soil that the plant's growing in. You know, and as best as you can. I do recommend, though, for sure, if those roots are really starting to get bound up, that you loosen them up a little bit and let them so that they don't continue to just sit there and curl in a ball. By loosening them up a little bit, they're going to go and search for dirt when you put them in there, and they're going to reaching for the bottom, reaching out, and really develop a good root ball. So, and that's my suggestion. I've seen it on many other folks as well. So now what I'm doing is just going around there making sure I'm not burying no leaves. And I like to compress it just a little bit. I don't want it to be too loose because I want that root to work in there, and I want that stalk to be firm in there. So when I do start putting them outside, it's able to withstand the winds, and it's not going to need support for a little while anyway. So I got that one in, as you can see. Not a lot of perlite in this soil mixture, but there's a reason. There's a lot of other mixes in here that allow this soil to drain real well, as you'd seen in a video before. And so I've got very good drainage on the soil. I'm not worried about it. So, and last but not least, right beside it, I got my little tag, tells me what it is. That's key. You should have that tag ready to go when you go ahead and replant this thing, so everything's prepared and ready to go. Yeah, that's how I do mine. Is it the end-all be-all? No, it's not. There's many ways that some folks may do theirs. This is how I do mine. Seems to work year in and year out, so I'll stick with it. And so, you know, that's my method. As you can tell, or you may not be able to tell, I went just a little deeper down there on that stem. I know this lighting's really not great, but I went right down to the bottom of that leaf bed where, as I had about an inch before, because I want to establish a good root system, and I want that stem as deep as I can get it. So, well, that's all there is to it. Once you do that, you know, you give it a little drink. I don't like to overwater it, and so I just give it a little light drink right now. And this soil was already moistened up when I was generating it, when I was creating it, so it doesn't need a lot right now. And you don't want to get them too wet, or, you know, peppers are not like some plants. They don't like a lot of moisture, so. And that's all there is to it. You do that and your peppers will grow up happy, and they'll start shooting up, especially when you transplant them like this. You'll get a very rapid growth when they get that new room to grow, especially when those roots start to get bound like you started to see them at the bottom there. And I'm real happy that they're reaching down instead of out. So that's it for this one. Hopefully I helped you out in some kind of way, shape, or form. And we'll see you soon, and happy gardening. Have a good evening.